Hello boys and girls, this is Voodoo Magic, the retro Game-a-Holic, here with another game of MRJobe versus Alpha Zero. Now the makers of Alpha Zero didn't really know what to do after the previous game because, I mean, artificial intelligence is artificial intelligence. They just have to see what happens. They played with all sorts of chess engines between now and then, trying to get more games under their belt to try to deal with the attack, the brutal attack that MRJobe does. So let's see how this goes. MRJobe plays e4. It's met with e5, standard opening. MRJobe protects the pawn, and so does Alpha Zero. Then he goes for the Brunetti's attack. I think that's what this is, or something like that. I can't remember the name of it offhand because I'm not that much of a great chess analyst. I will be someday. No, it's not the Capablanca's defense. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. What does matter is the next move. Now, at this point in the game, MRJobe got a little bit, let's just say, he said, I'm done with this, I'm done with these attacks. I don't want to deal with this game. I'm going to take over right now. And as you see, he made one move that really made it difficult for Alpha Zero. One move, causing that much devastation. I mean, I use the word devastating too much, but it's what happens when you watch MRJobe play. Now, he knows that he doesn't know what to take right now. He's like, what do I do? I mean, if he doesn't want to take this way, really, because this guy would come up and check him and take that. So what does he do? He doesn't know. It's really so, but he does have a smart ploy in his pants. So he did do this. Now there is a attack going on in this direction, but we have to be careful what we wish for here. So here's the king attack. Now he could try to take it, but then he'd be taking with the pawn. He would be wasting a queen. He can't go this way, and he can't block it. So he ends up just sliding his king over. And in one brutal move, the game is over. Just like that. Excuse me. That's what happens when MRJobe gets peeved. I mean, he just says, to heck with this. I'm taking this game over. I'm going to win. Okay? I mean, check this out. He can't go anywhere. He can't go here. He can't be blocked. He's protected by the pawn. He's got nowhere to go. Okay, let's see what the next game was like. Now, at this point, the AI of Alpha Zero was very, very cautious. He decided once MRJobe went with the e4 to try to start attacking first, or at least prepare to attack. He didn't want to move this one down because he could just move that one up. So MRJobe decides to do the Philodendro's attack. Philodendro was a famous idiot. So he's trying to fool him, I think, and to making a stupid move himself. So the response to this was actually the A6 here. So at this point, MRJobe moves a pawn up. He's protected by the queen. He could go here, but what is he trying to achieve going over there? He needs to open up some lanes for his pieces, and that's what he starts doing. MRJobe then reinforces this particular thing. He doesn't go down here because MRJobe could just come up and start attacking his knight, and what does his knight have to do? It has to go back into these scrappy places. So, apologize, these allergies are just killing me. Okay, so anyway, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Anyway, so it was at this point that was made. that point was made, and he decided to try to thwart it by doing his own move, because that was he was kicked back by the pawn, and kicked back by another pawn, and so he had to fall back here. He had to fall back here because he needed, and that was a good reason that he put that pawn forward, because that way when he comes back here he can have a place to slide back into. Now once again, there was about, I don't know, 2 or 3 seconds that MRJobe pondered. It took him a long time. I mean, unlike the other moves that he had made so far. So what he did was another great move. He decided to go for a big attack himself. Now, at this point, what can you do? I mean, I wouldn't know what to do myself. I mean, what do you attack? What do you attack first? I mean, any move that he makes is going to be guarded by another piece. So, and you don't want to open this up too much, but you kind of do, because you want to make sure that you have some place to go. So he takes the pawn, and of course, MRJobe plays the knight, and he goes for the attack. But then he's met with another check. He takes. What now? Another attack. That was actually intentional, because that way he can do this right here. He can open that lane up. Now he's attacking the rook. Rook slides over. What does he do now? He really needs to take out the bishop, but he decides, hey, I'm going to go for that pawn there. And actually, that was an excellent move. Actually, it was an excellent move. So MRJobe decides, hey, I'm going to lose that bishop, so I'm just going to attack it here. He says, well, if you're going to attack that there, I'm going to take you right here. He says, well, okay, if you're going to do that, I'll take you right here. Attacking the queen. Now, at this point in the game, it's kind of weird. I mean, look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pieces over here, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So at this point, it would be a really good idea for MRJobe just to start trading pieces. And as you can see here, the AI of AlphaZero knows not to trade pieces, because if he, for example, as he goes there, he's just going to be retaken by a pawn, and before you know it, things are going to be over. So what he does was, he, rather than taking that piece, he decides to use the pawn to take a piece, and then of course MRJobe takes the pawn. Now the MRJobe has 2 knights crossing each other. In fact, that wasn't what happened at all. Okay, because if you notice, that could not possibly have happened because of what we were at. Where were we at? We were like this, weren't we? And then he decides to take it this way. That was right. Shoot. Wish I'd remembered. But anyway, let's just say it was like this, and he could have taken it with pretty much any piece he wanted to. I think he had a knight right there, right? So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. So he needed to do something with his queen. That's exactly what he did. I forgot. You know, some of these games I just lose track. I apologize for that. So what is he going to do with the queen at this point? Well, he says, hey, I'm just going to take that knight right there, and look at this. It leaves that pawn wide open, so of course he has to castle. Then he decides to come down on the attack. Oh, no, he doesn't. He doesn't, because he knows if he does that, he's just going to get taken. So he just opens the lane up even more. He says, hey, I'm going to give you more stuff to worry about here. So MRJobe decides, enough of this crap. I'm just going to go out here and do some things myself. So, what happens here is not that at all. He decided not to do that. He actually goes back to here, and he actually moves this piece up because of the checkmate that was coming if he didn't do that. Okay? So what does he do now? How does he get back in the game? Well, what he does is nothing right there. He actually moves a rook over to attack the knight. So what happens now? Pawn attack. Ooh, now look at the stuff that's going on. We have, knights that are not protecting themselves. So of course he takes a knight. He could have took a day, but he chose not to. I mean, heck. So what happens now? What happens now? So he goes down to protect it. And now he's ready for a really amazing move. I bet you can't see it right now. I bet you can't see it. So what happens now is the knight comes over to attack this piece. Well then, MRJobe says, okay, well, I'll take that knight if you just want to give it to me. And then he said, okay, well, if you're going to do that, I'm going to take this piece. And I'm going to hurt you. So he says, well, I'm not going to let you hurt me. I'm going to move here. And so he has an eyeball on this space right here. Of course, the rook is there to protect. And then he knows he needs to keep that rook in the game to protect. So what move does he make? He says, okay, well, at this point, I'm really... Oh, he does need to move the rook because of the pawn. So he decides to move it back up to here so that it's protected by the king. Well, it doesn't really matter. MRJobe comes in with the greatest attack that he possibly could have done on the board right now. He says, okay, I'm checking you, But he goes, oh, crap. I didn't see that, MRJobe says, I didn't see that crap, So he comes over here with an attack on the king. He says, okay, if you're going to attack the king that way, I'll just go this way. Well, then MRJobe says, well, what do I do now? What the heck am I going to do? So, that's a good question. So he slides it back down over here to protect this piece. He says, okay, if you're going to do that, I'm just going to take out this pawn and attack your rook. He says, well, huh, he says. He said actually that out loud. He said, huh? Like, what the heck? So, attack on the queen. Oh my gosh. So he says, well, the most I can do now, do I have a choice of taking a rook or taking a bishop? So he says, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and take the rook. It's a bigger piece. Of course, MRJobe takes the queen. Oh my gosh. He takes the bishop. Now this is pretty wild, There's still some opportunity here. He has a queen and a rook versus two rooks and a bishop. It's kind of tilted his favor, but you never know what's going to happen. So what he does is he moves out to try to line up his rooks together, try to put them together over here. And he's got his bishops over here, but he decided not to do that because he wanted to keep his bishops together, his bishops safe. Now, MRJobe ponders once again for about a second and a half. I saw him everybody's waiting, wondering what's it taking him for so long. And so MRJobe decides to start moving his other pawns up. All throughout the place, he was just moving pawns up, And so, it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. What does he do now? I mean, it's a rough game. He didn't expect that. No one expected that, actually. So in order to do this, he had to try to save himself. I mean, he doesn't have any way to get out over here. So what does he do? He thinks, he says, well, the only thing I can do is right here. I mean, it's the only really move I have that's worth a darn. So then he moves up the pawn. Well, then he attacks it with a pawn. Then he attacks it with a pawn. And what does he do? He really can't move out of anything. So he takes the pawn, and the pawn takes him, and he takes the pawn. Then MRJobe moves up. What is he going to do? This is absolutely crazy, crazy stupid. He's got to protect against that. Of course, it's too late. I mean, it doesn't matter. He takes it anyway. See, this game was just completely crazy, and the AI did not know how to handle this. Artificial intelligence sometimes just doesn't know what to do in certain circumstances. Of course, the queen comes up, Now, what MRJobe decided to do was allow him to have this pawn movement so that he couldn't stalemate him, just in case there was a stalemate opportunity. Whew! So that was rough, right? So he took that piece, and now what does the rook do? Well, the rook says, hey, I'm just going to I can't, what can he do? I mean, if he moves up there and he can't block it again because the pawn will just take it. So, you know, he's got nothing to do except move the pawn down. Of course, Marshall says, "The heck with that. What do you think you're doing, boy?" He says, "Oh my God." So he just takes the pawn, a free pawn actually. And he comes up saying, "Ooh, buddy." That's pretty strong language. So he moves over here like that. MRJobe decides to move up his pawn. Oh my gosh, he's ready to queen again. He's ready to queen again. What does he do? Where does he go? What does he see? What does he say? He moves up here to attack the queen. And then one of the smartest moves I've ever seen in my life, he turns the pawn into a knight for a direct attack. Oh, yeah. I mean, what's he going to do? He's directly attacked. The only thing he can do is this right here. That's it. And then he checks him again, protected by the pawn. And he has to come down, because that's really the only good place. He has to protect that rook. And then, of course, MRJobe comes down for the check. And then, of course, he moves back. Oh, he can't move back up. He can't move here, here, and here, here. He can't move there. He can move here. That's the only place he did. And, of course, MRJobe plays this move, and the game was won with one swift beat. Because he's protecting here. He's attacking there. The pawn's got this. The pawn's got that. And the knight's got these two. So it was over. This is, once again, one of the amazing games of MRJobe that you will probably ever see. I mean, well, it's coming. We'll never know. Hold on. Take a little drink there because my voice is parched. This is such an awesome game. So if you enjoyed this game, you thought it was good, you thought it was worthwhile, of any way, of any kind of proportion, and to anybody, not even yourself, just give me a like, please, the little thumbs up button there. And subscribe to my channel. I mean, you'll get more of these videos if subscribe, and you'll also get more videos similar to this, and you'll be notified of them when they come up. So enjoy yourself, enjoy my videos, and I'll be seeing you very, very soon again. You know the terms. Until then, bye-bye.